Today's return guest needs no introduction. It is the much-loved and respected Jeremy Sherr. We get to chat about his work on rewriting the Organon in modern language. We discuss his new book on Krypton, his Patreon, the Dynamist School, and a few contentious topics along the way. Check out the links in the show notes or visit dynamist.edu. Also check out Jeremy's courses on teachable.com and patreon.com/Jeremy Sherr. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Homeopathy Hangout. Today, we have an incredible return guest and somebody that needs no introduction. I feel like I need a drum roll. The amazing Jeremy Sherr. Goes wow.
Thank you so much, Eugenie, and it's great to be back here again. And also, congratulations on the wonderful success of your podcast. You're hitting records for homeopathy and doing us all proud.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I'll take that on board. Now, you have been so busy and I have been dying to have a chat with you. I saw this photo that you shared on social media with you and John Morgan on a boat somewhere discussing your new Organon. And I would have given anything to be a fly on the wall in that boat just to hear those discussions. Can you tell us, I mean, you've got so many projects on the go at the moment, but the one I am really particularly interested in is how you're going with your Organon.
Yeah, that's actually the one I'm most interested in as well, because that's been the focus of my work in the last over a year and a half. I was hoping it would be finished yet, but I'm a bit too much of a perfectionist about it. No, I don't think I'm too much. It needs perfectionism. I actually, as you know, I'm doing an adaptive translation, which is turning Hamlet into New York 2024 or something like that. It's in clear, easy to understand language without missing out on anything essential, but using, where appropriate, conventional modern issues like smallpox is not a big issue today, but COVID is. So I will replace stuff like that. Or the Lancet I'll replace with chemotherapy or whatever is appropriate to today's homeopath. I know it will be a more readable, more approachable Organon. I actually finished all 291 paragraphs. And then I started again because I wasn't totally happy with what I'm doing, because you change concept as you go along. In the beginning, I was putting in a bit more of my stuff. Then I decided to be more totally faithful to Hahnemann and put my stuff in commentary for later. One of the weird things that I did along the way, I don't know where I got this idea, that I'm going to prescribe a remedy for every paragraph.
Ooh. So you just trying to make life hard for yourself, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That actually took me more time than the translation, but I felt that it would work both ways, that people would remember a paragraph more easily if they had something to balance it out, like a remedy, and they'd get to know some remedies. I won't publish that in the first edition. That will be a pure Organon, but later on I'll do Materia Medica of the Organon. So that's what consumes me day and night.
And can we expect some good rants? Will you be like emulating Hahnemann's rants?
At some time, I have this other project that I'm doing where I tag the whole Organon so that it's easy to search. And I'm working on kind of AI in homeopathy. So this kind of goes in that category. So you've got tags like health and disease and second prescription and stuff like that. But by far the most populated tag is what I call allobash.
Allobash, that's great.
Which the Organon is full of. And Hahnemann, like myself, is Aries. Was Aries. And you too. Fantastic. So we like to rant and we like to bash. So I just translate it into the modern bash and try to make it parallel to what he was doing.
That must have been fun. Surely that was the most fun part.
Totally. It's a wonderful sport, allo bashing. It's like one of my favorite things to do. I'm a ranter generally, as you know, probably. But I
love
try
rants.
and code.
I have a podcast episode which is just me, and it's called Rant, Ravings, and Ramblings or something like that. I love rants too. A good rant.
That's nice. Because I had the series called Seminar, which was restoring roots, remedies, rants, reflections, something like that. So and I ranted a lot, especially during COVID. But if you want to, I will give you a taste of a paragraph.
Yes, please do. You should be able to screen share if you wanted to, or were you just reading?
I don't think I've done that with you before.
No, I don't think so.
Okie dokie. So this is paragraph 9 from Dudgeon, which is a paragraph we all know and love very much. And I know it off by heart because I've taught it hundreds of times, and I love it. And to me, it was such perfection, I thought maybe I should not touch it at all. So let's just talking about health. So in the healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, autocracy, the dynamics that animates the material body organism, rules with unbounded sway and retains all parts of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operation as regards both sensations and functions, so that our indwelling, reason-gifted mind can freely employ this living, healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. It's a beautiful poetic paragraph. It contains so much information. I once taught it, I think I was teaching with Rajan in India, and I taught this paragraph for 4 days.
Wow.
So there's a lot to say about it, of course, but it's a wonderful definition of health, which is what is missing from every allopathic school on the planet. They hardly ever mention or talk about health, and that should mean that we should talk about it a lot so we know what to compare it to. So when I came to paragraph 9, I thought to myself, love this. Maybe I'll leave it as it is. Is it perfect? And just leave it untouched. But then I saw it's perfectly imperfect. So let me show you some of the things that I felt needed changing. So I changed man to life. It says in the healthy condition of man, but that's a bit outdated today, seeing it's not only male, female, gender, whoever, but it's also plants and animals that we treat with homeopathy. I changed health to life. I changed spiritual to dynamic because people get a bit confused on spiritual, like, I'm often asked, so is homeopathy a spiritual medicine? It has a component, but the fact that we use energetic medicines doesn't make it spiritual in the sense of it's meditation or prayer or something like that. It's an energetic medicine that treats mind, body, emotions, and spirit. So I changed that to dynamic. I chose regulates instead of governs and I omitted autocracy, which is less oppressive. Governs is a bit dictatorial, where regulates is more what the vital force does. It keeps things in a harmonious, dynamic, homeostatic balance. I replaced admirable, harmonious, vital operation with inspiring, harmonious rhythm. Because admirable is also, it's nice, but it's a bit hierarchical, I admire somebody healthy or whatever. I prefer to be inspired by somebody. Then it's transferable. And I inserted rhythm, Hahnemann says, with unbounded sway. And that sway is a kind of rhythmic movement of our vital force, of the beating of the heart, the pumping of the lung, keeping us in rhythm with the universe. And nobody says unbounded sway, it's old language. So I replaced unbounded sway with unrestricted. Indwelling reason-gifted mind, I made indwelling reason-blessed mind. Because gifted is a bit like being a genius. So a gifted mind is somebody who's special, whereas this is just we've all been blessed with our consciousness, our mind. I changed employs, this living healthy instrument, to directs, which is more positive and cooperative.
Can I make a suggestion?
Please do.
I have a thing because instead of using the word unrestricted, because the subconscious apparently doesn't hear that un part, it just hears restricted. So
Right.
like a more positive framing. I don't know what for unrestricted. Just putting it out there, just adding to your workload.
No, it's actually something I thought about a few days ago, and then I forgot about it, and you remind now. So I'm really happy. It does have to change from the unrestricted.
I love your wording though. Like words are so powerful. I was just chatting with Dinesh Chauhan before and he talks about case witnessing. And I'm like, oh, I love case witnessing is so much better than case taking. And these words that you're changing, this is beautiful, Jeremy. This is really beautiful.
I'm really pleased. That's great. And then I changed our existence to all existence, because our can just mean human existence. But today we want the river and the deer and the elephant and the plant to be our existence together. So these are the changes I made. And and I also changed, Hahnemann says, in the healthy condition of man, I changed to continuum instead of condition, because condition is a bit static and continuum is a flow. So here's the result. And I also changed the sequence. I started at the top, which is our reason-gifted mind, and moved down the nervous system, which is sensation and functions, to the body. So I could change that sequence. So here's my version at the moment, which is likely to change. In the healthy continuum of life, the dynamic vital force regulates the material organism via sensations and functions, animating all parts of the body in an inspiring, harmonious, free-flowing rhythm.
Ooh, I like it.
Innermost reason-blessed mind can freely, have to fix that, direct a living, healthy being towards the higher purpose of all existence.
Oh, that just reads so much easier. It's inspiring. It's beautiful. It's like thought-provoking and exciting. Good job. We definitely need a round of applause for that.
I think so. Thank you so much. I wake up to a paragraph every morning and I think about it all night. But there's so much tweaking. I must have done 100 versions of paragraph 9 already. And paragraph 1, I can't tell you how many versions I've made. So those simple ones, but so essential that every word counts.
Does Camilla ever say to you she's tired of you now? She needs to, you need to stop this.
People tell me that I'm being too finished about it.
Because I can imagine you sitting there mulling over every little word and making sure it's perfect. Because this is a huge task you've taken on.
Yeah, I think it's really important because people find it difficult to relate to the organon. But honestly, I've never been asked a question in class that I can't answer from the organon. And because I know it pretty much off by heart, having gone through it so many hundreds of times, I can relate, I can find the answer in there, and it's all logical. And it's not because I think it's a holy book, it's because I think it's a totally logical book. And then I prescribed 291 remedies. That paragraph 9 I gave Krypton. So Krypton it's a book I just published. It's a proving I did in 1996 as part of my noble gas exploration, which is another one of my hobbies. Long-term hobbies. I've been doing it for 30 years now. But Krypton is just an unbelievable remedy. It's the most mind-boggling remedy there is, other than helium, I would say. But it's more complicated, Krypton. It's full of mathematics and astronomy and Tibetan Buddhism and the Bible and, stars and aliens, and it all knits together. The trick is how you take this very diverse information and you weave a web of meaning. This is really, in one way, it's a book about Krypton. In another way, it's a book about the noble gas journey because they're such special remedies. If you crack the noble gases, you can understand the whole periodic table because they are the epitome, they are the perfection of each period. So Krypton is the perfection of the fourth period. And then we can understand what all the other elements are striving to be like. They all want to be like Krypton. And so it opens up this whole world. They're also totally perfect, being the 7 samurai. And on the other hand, they are very imperfect in their opposite manifestation. But in another way, these books, the Noble Gases series, are unique in homeopathy because people confuse approving to materia medica. If you have, let's say, Allen's Encyclopedia, which is my favorite proving book, and you find the raw provings of 12 volumes of raw provings, and you can read them, but it's difficult to retain because it's just a list of symptoms. It's not even wise to retain them because it's just a reference. But then along comes Kent, and he weaves that together into a web of meaning that, okay, now we've got a concept, we can see something. How do you take a remedy from that proving, that raw material, into materia medica, which is a different thing? So that's what I'm demonstrating here, that I take a proving and then I'm showing this connection, that connection, until it all comes together in one synthesis. I believe at the end of every case, or at the end of every remedy, we need to form a synthesis, which is just one-liner understanding of what's happening. So I do that in Krypton. I demonstrate that. So I'm pleased I'm finished that, and I'm not pleased I have another 3 noble gases to go, and lots of proving sitting on the bottom of my hard disk waiting for attention patiently.
What would you say the underlying, because I listened to your lecture on Patreon, which we need to have a chat about as well, but you mentioned, so I love language. I did Latin at school for a couple of years, and language fascinates me. And you mentioned about Krypton coming from crypt, and a crypt being like the secret underneath the... Talk to us about that part, because I really like that. And just, can you tell us a little bit more about Krypton?
Let me, it's so complex, it's so vast, but I'll concentrate on a couple of aspects. Let's simplify it to the most simple words: to re or to be. On one side, because, okay, let's start here. Krypton is the 4th noble gas. And therefore, what I discovered amazingly, which I never expected to, is that it corresponds to the 4th dimension. Helium corresponds to the 1st dimension, a line. Neon to the 2nd, a surface. Argon to a 3rd, volume or sphere. And Krypton to the 4th, which is time. A particular aspect of time, the continuum of time, meaning that we see past, present, and future. It's a compartmentalized way of looking at time, where we cut it up into little bits. Yeah, these are my 4 noble gas books that are out. And there's Krypton in the end of the 4th period of the periodic table. And this is the way that Krypton sees time, which is not the real way that time is. Past, present, and future, but it's the way we perceive it as 3-dimensional beings looking at the 4th dimension, which is time. So there's a lot of aspects of time in Krypton, and you could, in a way, sum them up either to be, which is being in the perfect present, in the now, in the here, in the now, in the center, which is a perfect side of a noble gas, connected to the axis of the universe, or to re, which is recycling time, which means go to work at 9, come back at 5, eat your dinner at 7, watch TV at 9, go to bed, and repeat, which is the pathological aspect of Krypton, which is I have to go to work every day. It's very boring. It's all very same-ish. Karma is repeating itself. You get all kinds of expressions if we look at time. Yeah, I see my inability to be here and now. I'm losing, time deludes me, all that kind of stuff. So it's very much about that aspect of time. But there's so much more. There's diving through the mirror from health into chronic disease, because the word Krypton also relates to chronic, which is time, which is chronic disease. We dive through the mirror. And then you get all these Krypton people like Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in Wonderland, who used to write in mirror lighting. So did Leonardo da Vinci write in mirror writing. All these geniuses who were very logical and very nonsense at the same time. Lewis Carroll wrote, it's not even his name, this is his name in mirror writing. So there's lots of fascinating so-called, here's Leonardo, right, in mirror language, in mirror writing, which is about recycling or going on a straight line. So here's my sum up of Krypton is sensation, reversal, function, mirror image. Sensation, mirror image must decode. If you remember movies like A Beautiful Mind, where it's all about decoding, all these decoding movies, these are all about actually Krypton people. So it's got a lot of those aspects. But then you get such a wide remedy, really, and mind-blowing. I have a particular chapter there which I'm very fond of, which is about the nature of sleep and time. because you see, it's a kind of enigma. How come if we don't sleep at all, if we don't sleep for 1 week or 10 days, we go crazy and then we'll die? Maybe we'll die first and then go crazy, but we're not going to last. That's it. Then you have to wonder, how come people last for 100 years? They go to sleep and they wake up refreshed. If you don't sleep, you're going to die in 10 days. So sleep is obviously the best medicine in the world, which means that there's a parallel between homeopathy and sleep. Like sleep and homeopathy do the same thing because they're both the best medicines in the world. I would say sleep is more powerful than homeopathy even, because it keeps us alive for 100 years, whereas without sleep, 2 weeks. So there I go into the nature of sleep and how come sleep actually does that. And the reason it's in Krypton, because my conclusion is that what sleep does is it reverses time. That in sleep we go into reverse time, which is why our logic turns into nonsense, as in dreams, which should be nonsense. A nonsense dream is a healthy dream. A logical dream is an unhealthy dream. Whereas when we're awake, a nonsense day is a nonsense day and a logical day is a productive day. So it's a long article about that with lots of stuff from physics about negative time and stuff like that. But I like it a lot. And I've got a lecture on I'll show you later my site where all my lectures are. You can listen to that part of it if you like.
Oh, amazing.
Am I talking too much now?
No, keep going, keep going. And also I was going to ask you, have you got any cases of Krypton? Have you used it much in clinical practice?
It's one of the remedies I use quite a lot, actually. So yeah, I have in the book, I published 13 cases.
Wow.
And each one with the explanation and everything else. It's actually a surprisingly used remedy. Let's say the most simple of it is people that come and say, everything's humdrum work, same, repetitive again and again, and I'm caught in a loop and that kind of stuff. Those are the simple, straightforward cases. But then you get a few alien kidnappings and stuff like that, and superheroes and supermans and all that kind of stuff to spice it up a bit. Yeah.
We definitely hear everything in our clinic. And it's the best when a client's actually really open and they really tell you what's going on in their mind, because it makes it so much easier to prescribe. And literally homeopaths hear everything. So if you do think that secretly you are Superman or you have been abducted by aliens or whatever, tell your homeopath, because we literally have remedies to help balance your vital force.
Absolutely. I had one case that was abducted by aliens, so to speak. That's the way he sees it. And he totally missed out 2 days of his life. And then he was freaked out for a long time. And homeopathy the Krypton sorted him out, fixed him up. He came back to normal. So if it's a delusion or if it's real, it doesn't matter to us homeopaths, because I have one motto. Believe everything your patient tells you and don't believe anything at the same time. If your patient tells you they're abducted by aliens, they were abducted by aliens. And at the same time, they weren't. So I don't care. But I'm just going to go with what I see and prescribe for that. There you go.
Beautiful. So what sort of journeys has Krypton taken you on personally? Like, have you got... This has been a long journey. If it's, what did you say, 1994? And where did you find the substance?
1996, I proved it, but it took me 10 years to write the book.
Where did you find the substance?
John Morgan from Helios sourced it for me. He just buys a canister of noble gas. He did it. But Krypton's horrible to work on. Camilla refuses to touch it, anything with the proving or something, because as soon as she works on it, her computer will break down, and so will mine. It's like standard thing. It messes your computer up. And it's a hard, tough remedy to work on. But in the end, it's just unbelievably amazing. So there you go. You get both sides. Amazing. Personally, it was tough. Yeah.
That's the problem with provings. I got really scared after we did the cassowary proving this year, because one of the, like Sarah Valentini broke a cassowary. It's this like really ancient bird. It looks like a dinosaur with feathers. And she broke her foot, like as in the proving, just before they were about to start. And then one of our provers, because we did a simultaneous proving on two sides of Australia, she was in a car accident, and then myself and Amy, my clinic manager, was almost in a car accident. And so there was just all this stuff happening, and all of us almost divorced our husbands. It's like a CPR on steroids is what I decided this remedy is. And I'm like, this is really scary. Can the accidents just stop, please?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, Camilla and me say we have a scar for every proving we've done.
You've
like
had
battle scars.
Oh, battle
Yeah,
scar.
battle scars. And when we do a proving together, getting divorced is standard. It's like when we do the proving, we have a wonderful relationship. We're all happy together. As soon as we do the proving, I go that way, she goes that way. And it's who are you and why are you in my house? And it's going to be an argument, but every proving is a different kind of argument. But I've just done 2 years ago my 45th proving. And that one really messed me up. I ended up in intensive care. So it's like, I don't want to do any more for a while. But on the other hand, if I have any wisdom at all in life, it's from the provings. There's no doubt about it. You lose a little bit, you gain so much more. So I wouldn't have it any other way. Because you can sit home, wear a helmet, in an oxygen mask, and isolate yourself from the world. But what the shaman says is, and we are shamans, they say you've got to dive into the shadow side. If you don't dive into the shadow side, you cannot be a healer, because we have to see what that's about. First of all, our own shadow. And that's what provings do. We jump into our shadow, and it's not pleasant. Because here we are all nice and that, but you don't see that I'm wearing my shorts underneath this table, my Zoom shorts.
I'm wearing my comfy shoes.
You get to see the other side, but if you don't do it, then you're just playing the nice game. And it's exactly what Hahnemann says in paragraph 104 in the footnote. He says the thing about provings is that it's a tool to get to know ourselves. And it's also, by all experience, on the whole, increases your health because you exercising your immune system. Let me tell you an anecdote. Camilla and me in the sapphire proving the worst divorce ever, because I would be packing the dishwasher and she would be standing there. You don't pack it like that. Put the spoon like that. Put the plate like that. And I'm like, leave me alone, woman. So it was horrible, but now we're immune to it. I just say to her, hey, you're doing a sapphire on me, and she knows what I'm saying. She says the same to me. So it's like a real vaccination towards certain life situations. Yeah. And on that same sapphire proving, because of the sapphire proving, I bought 10 houses in like 5 years, which I would never have done before.
Wow.
And made a load of money out of it.
Amazing.
So, benefits as well.
There's got to be some benefits to it for sure. This is a little bit off topic and not, because it's something that's been sitting in my head for a little while. And I didn't tell you that I was going to ask you this, but it's just come up. So you know how much work you've put into triturating this remedy? Or actually, did John Morgan triturate it, or did you triturate it? Did he make it?
This one he did, but there have been others that I've done together with him.
Because something that I keep on wondering about, I see people like you doing so much work proving remedies and writing all this up and doing all this work, but then the remedies go to the pharmacies and they're the ones that are making all the money out of it. So something that I've started with Danette's son, Paul Theriault, and a couple of other homeopaths is that I sell their remedies, but 10% of every remedy that I sell goes directly to them. And it's easy enough to do because you just pull a report, see how many you've sold, and send them a royalty check. How do you feel? Because you're somebody that's been doing this for a very long time.
I wish I was doing my provings with you, because it's definitely right. I make a lot of income for the pharmacies through all these remedies that I've sold or teach or whatever else. And mostly I don't get much back. I have to say, though, that I do get some back, because John Morgan has always contributed remedies to homeopathy for health in Africa. And in Israel, Noor Shoshanim give me all my remedies for free. And other companies have also given to HHA remedies for free and stuff. So I do get back, but let me say that for the amount of work I do and the amount of profit they make, it would be nice to get even 1% back.
I've wondered, there's a pharmacy here that I supplied a certain thing that was injected into people. I managed to find somebody who that was where the remedy was sourced from. And everyone in all of Australia and other parts of the world, probably, because there's a certain shot that's only over here that I was able to source. It was all from the remedy that I gave them. Obviously, I didn't get anything from that, which is totally fine. I have zero issue with it because it wasn't really the person who gave it to me should have been getting the royalties. And I didn't do any work. So for people like you that are actually spending years doing the provings, doing the cases, writing it up. Like I see how much work goes into that. And I just feel like there should be something more
You
coming back.
wouldn't
And that's
believe
why I want to have this conversation with somebody like you who's been doing this for decades and get your take on it, because I'm not sure if it's just me that maybe it's not seeing the full picture.
No.
And never, ever get me wrong. I
only
love
right.
our pharmacies and I always buy my remedies from the homeopathic pharmacies, even though I have a radionics machine. I always buy from the pharmacies and we should all support them. But I just wonder if we could have a conversation around creating like a little bit of a different paradigm, because that's why with the cassowary proving that we did, I was happy to be part of it. But I do not want to be the one writing it up, digesting that information, writing out the themes, all the works that goes into it. I do not want to do that. I have a really busy practice and that takes me away from making an income. Because if you're spending hours writing this all up, I couldn't make an income.
You wouldn't believe how much work goes into writing a proving up. Now, there are many levels of provings, and a lot of people just publish it as prover 1 day 1, prover 2 day 2, or whatever, which is rubbish. You can't work with that. I have the highest standard that I can achieve in provings, and I edit them for years, just the raw proving, not turning it into materia medica, honestly years. And there's not much to show for it, economic-wise. I do sell them for $6 or $7, but all that money goes to HHA. And if I was working on money at that time, I've spent years on all the provings together, like in terms of day in, day out. So I absolutely think that people should be reimbursed. Now, you'll get some people that publish their provings free on the net, and I do not agree with that, because I think I had this discussion with Misha, who publishes his provings free. And I said, okay, Misha, you didn't edit them. Peter Fraser, may rest in peace, he edited them. And then it's easy to put them out there, but people need to get paid something for their work so that they can carry on doing it. I have 6 or 7 provings waiting to be done, but I've got to make an income too. So,
Exactly. Well, I'm really glad to hear you say that, because that was my feeling with all of this. I just saw it happening around me. I saw all the work that people like you and Danitza and Paul Tierra are putting into this. And I'm like, Danitza said it such a good way. We are the only profession that does not pay our researchers. You are our researcher. You are out there researching this stuff for us, doing all the work. We just get all the benefit from it, and the pharmacists get all the money from the remedy. It's really weird. Why do we think that's okay?
If you read the introduction, Hahnemann's preface to Chronic Disease, he says, I'm quoting out of my mind, and I'll shorten it a bit. He said, if I did not know for what purpose I was put here on earth, to make better myself and all around me, which is within my power to improve, I should consider myself bloody stupid, because I could have been making a lot of money during that time. So it's because I have a mission, you have a mission, whatever, we go with the mission, but it's abused somewhat, because hopefully we get paid in other ways. I don't know.
That's how I feel. Actually, I don't know how many people know that it's actually cost me over $25,000 now to produce the podcast. But luckily, I have had some donations from people. So I haven't broken even yet. But this is a passion project, and we do it for love. Like, homeopaths are a passionate, I think mostly good-hearted bunch that really believe in the greater good.
Indeed.
And but it would be nice to get paid sometimes, right?
I totally agree. I think in cryptocurrency, if possible.
Yeah. I'm happy with anything.
It goes together with crypto.
I tell you what keeps me going is actually getting here on a Friday night to hang out with Jeremy Sherr talking about cool shit. I love it. So that's okay. That's better than money. Until my editor's bill comes, and then I go, oh, it would be nice to get some more money. So what is this other thing you've got here? Forthcoming Materia Medica series, Cracking Kent. What does that mean?
I'm going to start that pretty soon, and it's called the 4R series, because I've done 7R and I've done 8R. And 4R is 4 remedies a month. I gave myself a mission to take, because Kent, like I told you, he's transferred the proving into a comprehensive materia medica. But he's very cryptic himself. He never says it straight out. He gives you clues, that unbelievable clues, but they're hidden in the text. in some little saying, in some physical symptom or something, but he actually absolutely synthesizes the remedy from one little saying. And if you read him carefully, it's a wonderful practice, because if you can crack Kent, you can crack a case and you can crack any remedy. So I made myself a mission. Wonderful. I've got another mission, is to crack all the remedies in Kent's Materia Medica and to do one a week. So I started about a month ago, and so far I need 20 before I start, because, like you have to prepare your podcasts beforehand. So I'm preparing the remedies. I want 20 remedies in the bag. I've done about 8. So I sit up late at night and I crack a remedy from Kent. And I know when I've cracked it, because it means I've taken it to a higher, easier, more comprehensive level of understanding. So I'm going from A to Z. I've done abrotanum and acetic acid and ethusia and all these A's I'm on. And let's see how far I can go in my time and enthusiasm.
You crack me up, because you've got like a dynamist 2-year program going on at the moment, right? It's started. Has it already started? Because I know it goes from 2024 to 2026. Yeah. When did it start?
It took us 10 years to do it. We filmed it in 2013 at Manny Nolan's college. And Manny filmed it and did all the editing. And so it's broken down into really nice bite-sized lectures of 20 minutes each. So you can do one a day or something like that, and quite easier to retain, no travel costs, no hotels. But it's all the dynamics there, and I'll show it to you. But people are absolutely loving it. The students are loving it, because it's all really nicely edited. And it comes together with, this is Dynamis. So it comes together with all the written material. You don't have to write notes, and it's all neatly edited. And I'm there to answer questions. And,
it's a nice layout.
I do. Yeah, it's really nice. You do one session, you're going on to the next. And then I do question and answers live about once every month. They're actually getting more time with me than the live sessions. So there's paragraph 1, paragraph 9, questions and answers. And it's a very full course, very nicely organized. And better still, we hope to be translating it into other languages soon. That's where AI comes.
I was about to ask you if you use AI for that. Amazing.
Yeah, because I've done some stuff and it really translates pretty well. You have to fix it up. So we hope to have it in a few languages. But it's really a wonderful course. People are having a great time doing it, and they love that. They can ask me a question anytime. I type an answer, and then we discuss it once a month. So it's really good.
So and when is your intake usually? Sorry, this is like purely for me, because so your intake's already started. You don't take people mid somewhere.
No, we're having a dilemma now if to start a new intake this year or next year. So it's just in discussion now. Camilla wants us to start one every year, and I'm saying it's too much, because I do a lot of live sessions. So we have to decide. But what I've also done, which is I'm really pleased about, on the same platform, I've got loads of lectures that I put on, which I keep adding to, and they're really great. Like I just
Jeremy
had this
cracks
thing.
Monkeypox. I love it.
It's a really good lecture. I was very averse to looking at monkeypox, because I see it all as a money scheme from the WHO. And I'm like, I'm not looking at this. I'm not looking at this. I'm not looking at this. In the end, after 100 people are like, what are you doing about monkeypox? I woke up one morning, I said, enough. I've got to deal with this. I can't keep avoiding it, if it's real or not. So I looked into it, and I spent a few days actually studying the whole thing, and if it's real or not, and what is it. And then I went through the whole sequence of doing epidemics, which that's one of my games, is epidemics. I've done a lot of work on that, and I cracked the whole theme of it and the remedies and everything else. So it's actually become very popular, the monkeypox thing, if we need it or not. And I have other great lectures I'm adding all the time, like identity and immunity and the Falkmires and COVID-19 and cracking remedies. This is one I particularly love. It's freedom, fungi, pharaoh, and Passover. And it's pretty mind-blowing because when you start to see how the fungi feature in the Bible, and actually what I'm showing here is how I'm pretty convinced that Sora is not leprosy at all, but it's actually a fungal disease, a kind of candida. And there's lots of proof about that in the Bible, which I speak Hebrew, so I know it pretty well. So it's a fascinating lecture that goes into remedies like candida and oxygen, which is what makes fungi yeast rise and stuff like that. And there's a sleep and time I mentioned to you and all kinds of nice stuff on my teachable.com courses.
Amazing. So I just quickly want to pipe up here because YouTube deleted my channel a couple of months ago for medical misinformation. So 300 videos just gone. I know, 300 videos just gone. So anyone listening to this.
But you have the sources, right?
I do. So the other thing that people don't think of is like the money that goes into paying my editor to also upload it on YouTube. All of that is gone. So now I have to pay her to upload everything to Rumble. So if you go on rumble.com and type in Homeopathy Hangout, this interview that I'm having with Jeremy right now, if you want to watch the video of that, because obviously he's got slides. So if you're just listening to the podcast, the audio of this, there are some slides and things, and some of the information might get missed. So just pop onto the Rumble channel and you can watch the video and you'll see the slides that Jeremy has included in there.
Yeah, that's what I do, same as you. Some is unteachable, but I was freaking out over the last 40 years that all my many articles and lectures and videos would be lost. And I wrote in my will that if Camilla doesn't publish them, she's not getting anything.
If she's being a Melanie.
Yes, exactly. But I know she won't publish them because it's just not her kind of game. So I really didn't know what to do with them. And then finally, about 2 years ago, I found this Patreon site, which I'm particularly pleased about. So I'll show that to you because it really gives me peace of mind to know that I have it there, that it's all online and people can read all these articles. Let me just see.
So people pay for the membership on Patreon. Is this, and then they get access to the Teachable, or is that two separate
No,
things?
that's two separate platforms.
Okay.
The Teachable is more longer lectures, but it's got like hundreds of articles like this one, repertory and the remedies for PTSD, and Covagenus and poems. This one is about the fourth period, scandium, germanium, gallium, krypton. This is a poem about provings.
I think this is the one you read at the end of our previous podcast. It was something like a sword with an eagle, and I did this and I did that. It was a beautiful poem.
Yeah, I think that is that one, yeah. And I've got loads of lectures, cracking remedies and blah, blah. And you can search for them by philosophy and by remedy and by me playing harmonica and whatever, you know.
That is so cool. So this one is separate to the Teachable. So the Teachable courses, you can just buy them one course at a time, whereas the Patreon, you have a monthly membership and then you have access to all of it.
This is a monthly subscription.
Okay.
But it's a very good platform for me to keep everything on. I add something every week. Because I've got so many more articles.
Their commission is just really high because I had a bit of a Patreon thing going, but I think they were charging something like 25% commission or something like that. That was quite a lot.
10%, I think, or something like that.
They had two charges. One was like a platform charge and the other one was like a commission charge. So by the time you added the two together, I just found it was quite a lot.
I use a commission and it's 10%, which is, we checked out all these for 2 years until we find it.
Okay.
This is me. I won the research prize. I do a lot of research. I've published quite a lot of research, surprisingly, which is surprising because I don't like it. And all the stuff. There's a Krypton case. So
that's awesome. Thanks for showing us that. I was wondering, I've heard about your Patreon and I was wondering what that was all about. That's amazing. Have you got like handouts and stuff on there as well? Hey.
I do a live talk every kind of 6 week on that. Questions, answers, discussions, all kinds of stuff. Now there's one little philosophy issue I wanted to discuss with you.
Yeah, go for it.
Now there was a discussion on your show some time ago about can homeopathy suppress or not?
Oh, tell me, what are your thoughts?
Hot topic, hot potato. Obviously, I wouldn't say much if I agreed with what a lot of people said, which was homeopathy cannot suppress. So I definitely think it can, but not in the kind of way that people imagine, that you give one remedy and bang, it all gets pushed inwards. It's not like that. That can happen with steroids. You take steroids for your eczema, Tomorrow you've got asthma, that can happen. But it's more subtle and more complicated. Let's start on one end of it. Ken says, if our remedies weren't powerful enough to kill people, they wouldn't be powerful enough to cure people. So it means we have to respect their power. The moment you say, oh, homeopathy can't suppress, you give yourself license to do anything and to be more relaxed about it. So just philosophically, I think it's important that we respect the power of our remedies. And you've just done a proving. You know how they can whack you out of shape. But the question here is also about suppression. However, if we want to talk about suppression and can homeopathy suppress, we need to give a definition of suppression, first of all, because just saying homeopathy can't suppress is just throwing out something or other out there without much thought or experience.
You're being a good researcher right now, like setting the parameters first.
I'm putting it down and laying it down on the table. So my definition of suppression, instead of giving you a definition first, I'll give you an example first. You've got some crappy inner city, I don't know, in some suburb, in some city, and there are riots. And people are breaking windows, turning cars, setting them on fire, looting, the whole thing. Police, everything else like that. Okay, it's going crazy, but the police come, kill a few of the rioters, arrest the leaders, and whack them away in prison. Happens in all kinds of friendly countries. I won't mention names, so I won't be assassinated, but it happens. And now, after they've shot a few people and arrested a few others, all is quiet. So now, is that cure?
Okay.
From a homeopathic perspective. So we
Great
can
analogy.
say, it's not cure, because what is this about? The question is, why are people looting? Why are people rioting? And we found out that they closed the factories, so there's unemployment, and the living conditions are horrible. And it's actually all because, and there are rats everywhere, and the sewage is spilling over. And it's all because the mayor is corrupt. So now you've stopped the riots, but actually the disease has gone deeper. Now you're locked into it. You're locked into your house. You can't express it. Disease is spreading. Poverty is spreading. The city's breaking apart. And the mayor is corrupt and raking in billions. So that is the definition of suppression. The definition of suppression is solving a problem without solving the cause, the central cause of the problem. That's suppression.
Great definition.
So now, if we prescribe for external symptoms only or superficially, when missing the point, and it helps and it's nice, and maybe we're giving protocols and I don't care what, combinations, that's not my big issue here. But the big issue is that you are not prescribing or replacing the mayor, because unless the mayor and that corruption changes, which is an analogy to the center of our being, then it will just, the disease will just manifest in another place. So instead of rioting because people are too scared to riot, they'll be sabotaging, they'll be murdering, they'll be raping, there'll be whatever else there is to do there, because problem unsolved. That is the nature of suppression. If you take away symptoms, but you haven't taken away the source. Let me give you now a homeopathic example. You've got a mom phones in the middle of the night. She says, my kid has an earache. No problem. What's he doing? Screaming, one red cheek, blah, blah, blah. Chamomilla. Cool. Baby's better. Next day, mother's very happy. Everything's good. Week later, she phones, kid's got the earache again. Take chamomilla again. Again, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, chamomilla 30, 30, 30. Stops working so well. 200, 200, 200, 200, 10M, 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 10M. And then eventually it stops working, down to 12C, more chamomilla. Now the kid starts getting digestive problems and lung problems. Diarrhea, gas, indigestion, everything else. So now let's look at the whole story. The parents are in the process of divorce and they're fighting all the time and killing each other at home. The child develops earache. That's chamomilla. Now, what is the chronic of chamomilla? The chronic remedy of chamomilla that follows it on well from the acute to the chronic is magnesium carbonicum. Magnesium carbonicum is a remedy of parents of kids who are orphans and parents who are fighting and disagreeing and everything else, and which the kid doesn't want to hear. So they're going to get an earache. Now, you've taken away this earache, which is fine, but you're left with the core problem that has not been solved. Maybe you can't solve the parents divorcing, which would be best, or a nice friendly divorce, but at least you can go to a level deeper where the child can deal with it. If not, it will start manifesting symptoms on deeper level. So that is actually the nature of suppression. You've dealt with peripheral symptoms without going to the center. Now, people imagine suppression to be pushing the disease inwards. That's our image, that you put ointment on or antibiotics or whatever, and the disease has been pushed in. That is not the case. The way suppression works is that you've solved the periphery, but the central core is not solved. So now, when the periphery can't express the problem anymore, the central core, the vital force, will now manifest a deeper symptom. So it's always coming from the inside and not going from the outside in. It's just, I can't manifest it in rioting in the streets. I will manifest it now in violence in the home or something like that. And that's exactly what Hahnemann says. So I'm going to show you a paragraph, which I prepared earlier from my translation, just to demonstrate how he had it all worked out. So this is paragraph 202. And he says, when local symptoms are suppressed by external means, the natural forces compensate by awaking the internal disease and triggering dormant symptoms that are related to the local symptoms. It may be incorrectly assumed that these symptoms are driven back into the internal organs of the nervous system, but this is an illusion. They're not driven back, in other words. They are just manifesting from the center to a deeper level because they can't express themselves outside. In my comment, I write, you cannot push a disease inward. The definition of suppression is removing the result without curing the cause. When the most external expression is removed and the vital force is compelled to find an alternative, deeper expression. Mm-hmm. And so that's a story. That's my take on suppression. But it's not something that is wham, bang, and it moves inwards. Palliation is the younger sister of suppression. So when you're giving that chamomilla, it turns from a wonderful curative result, which you want to do. You want to give that chamomilla the first time. But if you're not moving deeper, you are palliating. And if you continue palliating long term, you are suppressing eventually. It's not a binary, I will suppress, not suppress. End of rant.
You started that by saying you were listening to a podcast episode of mine when you made you think of this. And I'm like, oh, he listens to my podcast. So that was exciting. That made my day. But secondly, this is the thing. I hear what you're saying and I completely agree. In practice, this is a little bit tricky.
Go for it. Be honest.
It's a little bit tricky. No, this is sometimes I think with homeopathy, because we think so deeply as healers and because we want to heal at the deepest level possible, it's easy to almost over-intellectualize what actually needs to happen. And I completely agree with you in that example that you gave was perfect of the chamomilla, and actually it's the parents' relationship that needs to be healed. It can't. So you give the child mag carb and that actually heals the child, strengthens their vital force so that the effect of the arguing is not affecting them on that level, so that their vital force is strong, so they can bounce back. So it's not, they can handle the stress of the fighting better, and then they won't get the ear infections. But just practically in clinic, like This type of teaching is really important for us to know. But at the same time, if you're a practitioner, especially if you're a new practitioner, this is very overwhelming when you hear this sort of stuff, because you think, how am I ever, I can do damage if I don't prescribe the right remedy, when in reality,
Totally agree.
yeah.
And,
Do you see where I'm going with this? Yeah.
and it's something I advocate very much, because this suppression thing is not a sudden thing that happens, just a long-term thing that rumbles on without dealing with the inside. But on the other hand, I'm a great advocate of saying, don't be scared to prescribe. You can't do wrong, because first of all, you have to know that there's no such thing as a simillimum. The thing that makes young practitioners most paranoid is that they think there's a simillimum. They go to a seminar, they see the lecturer giving the simillimum, so-called, and then they're scared to make a mistake. You cannot make a mistake that easily. You cannot suppress that easily. And the whole thing about homeopathy is not about giving a right or wrong remedy. It's about following on with a sequence of remedies and knowing how to take and move on and retake the case and everything else. If you give it your best in terms of taking the case, take a good case, try and understand it, try and repertorize it, work it the proper way, you'll be doing good work, whatever, and nothing bad is going to come from that. And you'll see that you'll just refine and help a lot of people, and you cannot go wrong. So I totally agree with you. No paranoia, but that should be moderated with saying it's not to mess about either.
100%.
Meaning, do your best work, 100% conscientious, 110%, because you're dealing with human life. Take a good case, understand the case, repertorize, study materia medica. Nothing bad is going to come from that.
I'm so glad that you've said that, because we're obviously always trying to keep the highest ideal in our minds of what it is that we're trying to achieve. And I'm glad that you've differentiated about the suppression. I think that was a beautiful parameter that you gave us, a beautiful new definition that you've given us. You need to release also a book of Jeremy's book of definitions, so that we have a new definitive guide. You know how there's this lady, I can't remember her name now, Jessica Taylor, I think she's created this new, the DSM manual, where they define all the mental health things. She's done like a new updated version of that with more like inclusive type trauma-informed language. I think you need to do something like that for homeopathy, where we have new definitions.
I've got a book called Jeremy's Law, which is in the Jeremy's Law, which is in the pipeline.
Oh, okay. Now,
yeah,
I have a tricky little, how much time have you got?
I've got as much as you want.
Okay, excellent. I have something that's potentially contentious that I would love to pick your brain on while you're here and while we're on this topic of suppressions. Recently, there was a really lovely homeopath with the best intentions that put this, what was called a 6-month course out, but actually it was only 1.5 to 2 hours of lectures every 2 weeks. So in total, it was about 24 hours of lectures. And the people who did this course were told they can call themselves homeopaths afterwards. So we have a couple of hundred 24-hour trained homeopaths, in brackets, in Australia, who are charging $1,000 for a fertility consultation. Now, this is where I would love to hear your thought, because one part of me is that is so amazing that we have more people using homeopathy. I don't care what they charge. That's not actually my issue. They can charge whatever they want, because at the end of the day, it's the client's choice to pay or not to pay. They're not being forced into this. And also, a lot of them just prescribe follicular, and they've been taught fertility protocols, and that's what they're doing. And at the end of the day, one part of me says that is always going to be better than using IVF drugs, and they're getting supposedly really good results. At the end of the day, if rather homeopathy prescribed incorrectly, that's going to give you better results than IVF, and people are not being drugged up. And there's now more research coming out saying how dangerous IVF actually is for the mum and for the baby and all that. And the other part of me is really saddened that somebody can do a 24-hour course and think they can call themselves a homeopath. For me, it's such a slap in the face. I actually feel very calm about it all, because at the moment I feel that there's more good that's going to come out of this than bad. The Pandora's box has been opened, so it's not that we can go back, because they're all on Instagram, website, like everywhere, calling themselves homeopaths. And in my heart, I believe it's more good than bad. But now that you've talked about this thing of suppression, clearly these people are going to have no idea of what it is that they can actually do It's almost that ignorance, right? It's like ignorant bliss. They don't actually know the potential harm that they could do. So with something like this, what is your take on this?
I've got a lot of take on it. Unfortunately, I've been shocked in my life enough times from this kind of low-level stuff, so I don't lose too much sleep anymore. Look, the first time I was shocked with it was when I heard about 30 years ago that the Glasgow Homeopathic Hospital decided to do a course for doctors where they only taught a few combination remedies and they vowed never to mention the Organon. So I was shocked and upset, blah, blah, blah. But gradually over time, I learned to understand that you cannot take a remedy from 1x to 10m in one shot, meaning you can't take a person, a so-called homeopath, somebody who wants to practice homeopathy or whatever, and turn them from a IVF prescriber to a potentized prescriber in just like that. People will get potentized by stages. So our hope is that these homeopaths will realize that there's so much more to homeopathy and they'll potentize themselves gradually. And that's up to us to educate them in a way that won't bust their ego so that they can accept it and say, look, great, but there's much more outside. Why don't you come on a journey and see what homeopathy has to offer, which is what you are doing? And then hopefully those that want more than $1,000 a shot will go on to learn and to see what can happen so something good can come out of it. If, however, they stay on the level that they are, that's exactly the same definition of suppression. You are solving a problem without solving the cause. And I understand they specialize in IVF or infertility treatments. Let's give an example. Some couple is having infertility problems, but the actual issue is not physical or anything like that. They have big emotional, karmic, whatever issues between themselves. Actually, they were never meant to be together, right? And the universe is saving them from having a baby and messing it up. Now, you can give them all kinds of infertility remedies and they have the baby and something's wrong. Now, I've actually seen this. I've seen cases because we have such strong infertility remedies, and I'm not going to mention them here.
Yeah.
But, where I've seen people give them for infertility and something in the whole parent-child relationship was messed out from, like you're forcing a baby out where they shouldn't be there in the first place, not the right time, not the right place. So there you go. It's a kind of a palliation suppression. And that I've seen, and I've seen the consequences of that. Now, these people don't understand it. Somebody wanted to make a quick buck teaching a course like that, so they have. And there'll always be this kind of mixopaths that are abusing the system. So all we can try and do is, rather than fight the darkness, we can light a candle and try and say to them, hey, we can make this better. Let's think about it. Let's potentize it. That's why I'm talking about the suppression thing. Not that I want to chastise anybody, and not that I want to scare anybody and say, you'll give one remedy and you'll suppress. You will not suppress with one remedy. It's a process of looking at the smaller totality than the real picture. And then
I can actually see how because I just think of all the fertility cases that I've had such good success in my clinic with infertility. And often I've used Liz Laylor's protocol, but more than not, it was actually due to a history of sexual abuse. And there were some really deep acting remedies that was needed for that. And I'm just thinking, if I forced a pregnancy with a fertility protocol rather than getting to the actual sexual abuse, now you've got this baby that's growing up and now they're 4 years old and that was the age that you were actually sexually abused, instead of healing that.
So you've got the whole thing, and that won't happen in a day. So that's the whole suppression thing, really, because you haven't cured the source of the problem. And then that sexual abuse perpetuates in some kind of a way. But it's a shame that it happens that way. What we have to make better colleges, more accessible colleges. But let me give you the opposite. There's one college, that I won't mention, where people are Oberklassischer. You know what I mean? Oberklassischer, it's a German, I'm borrowing from the German, overclassic.
Okay.
Like you can recognize them because they've got a halo over their
Oh,
head.
yes, I know exactly what you mean.
And then they walk around with the halo and they say, we are the classical homeopaths. We are the only ones. And you have to study one remedy for 3 years and study the organon for 7 years before
And we
you can
won't treat you if you're on hormonal contraceptives and things like that.
Exactly. And you have to stop all your obstacles to cure before you. And then we'll give you one remedy and we'll wait 2 years to see what happens.
Oh,
And
that
if
grinds
you
my nerves even more. That's worse.
Now, they are not classical, I can guarantee you, because unless you say that Hahnemann wasn't classical, because Hahnemann was all kinds of things from daily potencies to just get going and see where the case goes to second prescription, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I call them uberklassischer. It's like over classic, brick up the wazoo kind of thing. So, as you say in Australia. So it's between these two extremes that we have to find a way to educate people slowly. Now, we have a course in Africa in HA. It's a 6-month course for young African people. And we teach them a basic homeopathy, 36 remedies, first aid and all that. And they get called assistant homeopaths. And they don't take any money in the beginning, but it gives them the first leg on the ladder to then go on and train to be full-time homeopaths. Sounds more smooth to me than both those extremes.
Absolutely. Actually, when we first talked about this on the podcast, I initially was a little bit upset, but I've actually completely calmed down about it all. And I'm actually accepting all of it. And I believe in my heart it's for the greater good. So I've actually made peace within myself. But once that podcast episode was released where we were discussing this, I had an Instagram message from a lady in the Philippines, and she said to me, she took real offense to me saying that people who haven't been formally trained can't call themselves homeopaths because she lives obviously in a very poor country. There's no formal homeopathic qualification there, but she calls herself a homeopath and she's self-trained and she does a lot of great work in her village. And I'm like, that's completely different, because maybe it's not different. That actually to me is the purest form of homeopathy. She is going out in the village, treating people, which is great. And people that don't have access to medicine. So
it's very different from a 2-day IVF course. She might have gone, and there are a lot of self-taught homeopaths who are wonderful.
I always think when a lot of the homeopathic universities were closed down, it really was the lay people, it was the mothers, it was the grassroots homeopaths who kept homeopathy alive until we've had this resurgence. So I think overall in my heart, I think it's a good thing because more people are going to learn about homeopathy. And I was just really interested to hear your take on it.
Let me give you another example from homeopathic thinking. You give a first remedy. It's good or it's not good, or it's usually half good, 10% good, 12% good. That's fine. And that's not the game in homeopathy. The game is how you continue the next prescription and the next one and the next one. And it's the same with these people. They start, they do their 2-day course, great. Now, how do you continue from there? How do you go on to the next level and the next level and the next level? So as it is, you're struggling with, is this good or is it bad? The question is, where does it go from here? Can you take them up a level? Yeah. Anyway.
We can keep on talking for hours and hours. This conversation really could go in 50 different directions. Jeremy, we should probably round up because my parents-in-law are here and I know they're sitting there waiting for us to have dinner. Tell us, our listeners, all the places where they can get hold of you. We haven't even talked about homeopathy for health in Africa, but we've got an episode with you and Camilla on there, which is great. So there's homeopathy for health in Africa. There is the Dynamis School. There is the Patreon. Give us all the links of where people can purchase your book.
I'll show you again. We have the Dynamis course, which is a postgrad course, which is 2-year course, and really we go deep into everything in homeopathy. We take it up a level. I take them from the 200C to the 10M level. I have all these are like 1-hour lectures online, which you can see. I have my Patreon, which is, as I showed you before, loads of lectures and articles and stuff like that about remedies, materia medica, philosophy, cases, everything else. And those are the main places. You have Camilla's agri courses. They're also on the Teachable. And by the way, they are now selling her agri remedies in New Zealand. which is right around the corner from you. And those are the main places. And in my Patreon, I'm giving lectures every month. In Dynamis, I give lectures every month. So those are the things. And I'll just tell you, you remember last time we spoke, I just published my Noble Adventures of Beryl and Carol.
Yes. And it's won awards as well.
It won loads of awards.
You'll have to send me all the links so I have everything in one place. Maybe I can get Liz to send that for us, and we'll put that in the show notes.
Great. So yeah, and the thing is, this is a disguised homeopathy book as a young people adventure book, but really there's a lot of homeopathic stuff in there, and kids love it and adults love it. So I'm very pleased about that.
Oh.
And that's it. That's what I'm doing. And the proving books, the noble gases just published, and all my other books you can find on my website, dynamis.edu. There's a lot of stuff there. So I'll send you the links for that as well. Yeah, whatever. You can, there, dynamis.edu. There's a Krypton book and courses and blah, blah, blah. Epidemic course, remedies, my QREP, which is wonderful, and all that kind of stuff. So that's it. I don't know, am I sharing here?
Amazing. No, you're not sharing, but I think we've got all those. And I'll get the amazing Liz Norman, who I believe has been working for you for 18 years. I recently had my natal chart read by her, and it was amazing. And I'm having her on the podcast soon. I can't wait. She is a superstar, and you're so lucky to have had her alongside you for so long.
I'm very lucky. She's the source of everything. I wanted to show you the prizes I got. This is what I got
wow.
And a few more on the way, on the Noble Adventures. So I'm very chuffed with that. BerylAndKettle.org.
Amazing.
Patreon I showed you already. Dynamis School, there are all the lectures. That's a Dynamis course. And here are the dynamis.edu. That's my website, and there are loads of courses over there as well. So there you go. That's what I do in my spare time. If I'm not doing that, I play backgammon.
Amazing.
Actually, I have a few good backgammon course lectures on the Patreon of systems I've developed in backgammon. So
Jeremy,
you better go and feed your parents.
Thank you so much. I have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you again, and I cannot wait to have you back on the podcast to celebrate your Organon being published very soon. No pressure.
Thank you so much. Okay, Jeannie. Have a lovely evening.
Bye.
All the best. Thank you.